Well, hey folks, this is John with Ozarks Backroads with you again. We're on day 2 of our expedition over at Eminence, Missouri. We're out on the Current River today, and we kind of had a spring thing going on yesterday. We looked at a really nice spring in an old mill site. So today we're going to check out a couple of more springs, bigger springs. And the last one we see is one of the biggest springs in the Ozarks. I invite you to stick around. We'll mount up on the mighty white tiger here and check out some more Ozark springs. This is our road to Blue Spring. We just got off the highway right here. This will take us down to Blue Spring. We are east of Eminence, Missouri. So we're kind of out in the woods. This is a beautiful spring. It's right on the Current River. We get to walk along the river and then walk up the Spring Creek. It's really a nice spring, and it's a big spring underneath a big bluff. The flies, the gnats, are just unbelievably thick here. I cannot believe how thick the gnats are. They're so thick you can't hardly breathe. You get them in your mouth. We're on day 2 of our expedition. We had a pretty good night's sleep in the mobile command center last night. It was nice and quiet. I got to get this in the right, well, I don't know, we're just going downhill on the way down, but we'll get her an off-road pro. If I decide I want to do something stupid, it'll let me do it. So we're kind of on a spring theme this week. We saw a nice one yesterday. It's one that I had been to before, but I had forgotten where it was or what its name was. We went and checked that out yesterday. It was pretty cool. Somebody was actually swimming in the spring hole down there. I can't imagine anybody would swim in a spring hole, but he said it was pretty cold. I'd say that's right. The water is usually in the 50s, 55 degrees or something. Coming out of these springs, that's pretty cool water. He managed to do it. He didn't stay in long though. He got out and got dried off. I think he got all he wanted pretty quick. We're supposed to get some rough weather this evening, overnight. There's a pretty good chance of some rough weather, some hail and high winds. Those aren't conditions you want to be camped out, and it's supposed to happen right in the middle of the night, overnight. That's just not a good situation to put yourself in. If you've got a choice, I think I'll just pack it up and go home a day early. Boy, this is just beautiful down here, isn't it? She's steep. She's really steep. This is where you really feel the weight of the bikes when you're got on these steep downhills. The bike is hard to slow down and stop and maintain a slow speed. It wants to slide, and any bike will do that that's heavy, you know, a heavier bike. This is the worst I've ever seen this hill. I'm surprised they haven't been working on it this spring. I don't see any fresh gravel on it. All right, we'll just let her roll. She flattens out down here. Woo! Ah, it's pretty down here though. You get down along these creeks and rivers. Whew. That's where the Ozarks really shines, in my opinion. This is beautiful. They have an elk herd down along the river here in this area. So occasionally you'll see elk down here somewhere along the way. It's hard to see much of anything in the middle of summer when everything's grown up like it is, but it's possible. And we are here under this big bluff. We'll have to take a walk back along the Current River. We'll take a look at that, and then up the little Spring Creek to the spring. I got the place to myself. There's nobody here. Yes, I remember this parking lot. I did a video here a couple of years ago. I was right here in this parking lot. I think I was pulled up here. And I backed out and I went to take off. I was on this Tiger. Well, I didn't realize it, but I was in third gear. And I kind of got started downhill. And then I stalled it and I fell over right here in the parking lot. And that's what did the damage to this this panel right here is cracked. I've stitched it up with zip ties. But it had these big turn signals. It had these turn signals, same ones on the front that are on the back, and these things are huge. Well, the turn signal was sticking way out here. And when it fell over on the ground, it punched that turn signal in and busted this fairing just from the turn signal getting pushed in. So I bought these little LED, these little shorties, turn signals right here and put on it. So if it ever falls over again, which I have, and they don't hit the ground, they don't do any damage to the fairing. All right, we'll get the good camera. We're going to take a walk up the trail. We'll go check this place out. Here's our signboard for the spring. This blue spring is 310 feet deep, it says. Our trail is running right along the current river here on the bank. Run down the river a little ways. Pretty nice spot right here. The river's really big here. Beautiful shot down the river right here. Here's our little sign on the spring telling us it's the 8th largest, and looks like it flows 87 million gallons a day on average. So that's a lot of gallons. All right, we're getting close now. They've constructed a nice bridge over a little stream here so you don't have to get your feet wet. That's pretty sweet. So here is the blue spring right here. Pretty deep hole of water. Sits under a really nice bluff. We can go to the top. There's a lookout point up there. Should be pretty sweet. A lot of that's in the shade, but pretty neat. There's a little viewing platform down on the back side of the spring pool down there we were at earlier. We're up on top of the bluff at another overlook. Looks out over the spring and the river, or the creek. So that's a pretty nice spring. Keys. Yeah, this is a pretty place down here. Great big bluffs along this road. Pretty nice. River's right over here. The big river, the current. Yeah, that was Blue Spring, east of Eminence, Missouri, about 15 miles off of Highway 106. It's a pretty spot. It's a nice spring. I didn't realize it was the 6th largest in the state. I didn't think it was that big, but what the sign said. All right, here comes the big hill. Some nice big rocks, big whoop-de-doos and holes. Washboards too. That's mandatory on a hill. Gotta have washboards. No problem for the Tiger. If I can just hang on to it. Gravity's working on me here. Oh, hello. All right. I think that's the steepest part of it right there. So we have one more spring we're going to look at today, and it's the Thooster. But this one's a big one. It makes a genuine river. It's not just a creek, it's a river coming out of this thing. Oh, that air feels good. Woo. There wasn't any air moving down there. It was pretty still and pretty humid. But there were so many gnats, they were stirring the air up a little bit. Kind of kept me cooled off a little bit. I've never seen a year where the bugs, the gnats and the flies and the mosquitoes are as bad as they are this year. The gnats are absolutely, you can't even hardly breathe. They get in your mouth and your nose and your ears. If you stand still for more than 10 seconds, they just swarm you. And it's like that in a lot of places this year. Normally that doesn't happen unless you get around the water, you know, down around the rivers and creeks. You kind of expect some of that, but man, it's been bad this year. If you need any of those, let me know. We can export some to you. We'll send you some in the mail. Well, we got a little blacktop to do here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in, we'll put her in sport mode. I'm feeling a little sporty. We got, I don't know, 15 miles or so of blacktop probably. All right, we're about 2 or 3 miles here from getting to Big Spring. Name of this spring we're gonna go see is Big Spring. And it is a big spring. It's pretty over here, kind of up and down, pretty mountainous. Good place to have a big spring, I guess. At the bottom of one of these. Yeah, we're getting down there now. They got a little visitor center there. They'll welcome you. Probably sell you something if you went in there too. So we're down on the bottom here. Got a creek right over here. And there is the spring right there. Coming out of the bottom of that bluff. I'm gonna back her right in here up next to this tree and hope I get a little shade off of it. All right. Well, here's our first look at the spring. We're underneath a big mountain here. It comes out of a crack in the ground right there. There's some holes in the bluff that used to have water coming out of them. This is definitely the place to be. It's nice and cool right here with all the cool air coming off of this this little creek right here, this spring water in it. Really pretty. So our creek comes up there and then it just continues to head down towards the current river down here. Here's the signboard on this spring. It says it carries, it flows 286 million gallons of water a day on average, and it also carries away 173 tons of dissolved bedrock every day. So the cave and the cave system that this comes out of is growing by 173 tons of rock being taken out of it every day. That's pretty amazing. That's what gives this spring water that blue, that aqua blue color here in the Ozarks, is all the limestone that's dissolved in the water coming out of these springs. Here we are at the bottom of this big bluff. We've got these holes where water comes out of on occasion and used to flow out of, it looks like a lot. But nowadays, right down here at the bottom, this is where the spring comes up, right here. So there's a big crack in there. And over here in the bottom, and you can see all that water boiling up out of there. This is where all the water for the entire river here comes from, out of this one crack in the ground. That is just pretty cool. That's a lot of water. So this is about the best shot I can get of the spring from behind it, as far as I can get behind it, back in this hole in the bluff. You can see it boiling up out of the ground right there. It's pretty cool. Well, folks, I appreciate you hanging out with me, checking out some of the cool springs we have here in the Ozarks on our little expedition, our camp out over at Eminence, Missouri. I've got to break for base camp now, pack it up and head back to the world headquarters. We've got some rough weather coming in this evening, and I don't want to be camped out in that, so I'm going to break it off a day early and head back and live to fight another day. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. I invite you to come back and see me. We'll go somewhere and do something else. Till I catch up with you again, you all take care of yourselves. We'll catch you next time.